Well, the title pretty much sums up the video. I tried flipping gaming PCs, and this is likely the first part in a completely unplanned series here on my channel where I will be scouting out the best deals, finding the best opportunities, and hopefully building some pretty cool gaming PCs. And, if I'm lucky, I'll make a profit. Stay tuned. I've built PCs for a long time now, almost 5 years, and I've finally decided to take one of my biggest interests, which is building PCs, and try to make a side hustle out of it. So I began my search on eBay, which is one of the best and worst places to buy PC hardware. First I searched for things like CPU, GPU bundle, really just PC parts with bundle in the name, and I just scrolled for a long time through eBay, and there was a lot of good potential deals, but nothing really piqued my interest at first. But eventually I stumbled upon a full PC bundle, which I kind of see as cheating because the bundle literally included everything except the case. And my goal for this build was to find maybe a bundle with like a CPU, GPU, and maybe even a motherboard, and then buy all the rest of the parts individually, because bundles really are the best way to save money when you're building a PC. But the main reason I went with this bundle was there's about 23 hours left on the auction, there was no bidders, and the starting bid was $250. So I put in my starting bid, and I did not expect to win at all. In fact, I was really surprised the next day when I got the notification from eBay that I had won, and there was only one slight issue with the bundle. The seller must have realized that this bundle was not going to sell for as much as he thought it was. So the shipping cost was set to over $130, which I know for a 100% fact it did not cost $130 to ship the bundle to me. But I'm sure he was probably doing that just to offset the loss from the actual auction itself, because even after shipping and taxes, I got the whole bundle for just over $400, and I still see that as a pretty good deal. So I actually got two CPUs in this bundle. I got a Ryzen 5 1600 and a Ryzen 5 3600. Now these two processors are similar models, just two generations apart. And I went with the Ryzen 1600 in this build because it was already slotted in the motherboard. Now, I will use the Ryzen 5 3600 in a future build, but the biggest thing that shocked me was that in this listing, there was not two processors listed. It was only listed for one CPU, and it just said Ryzen 5. It didn't even specify the model. Now, the GPU I got with this was an RX 588 gigabyte. This is a pretty decent GPU for the price. I mean, they are very budget. You can get them for $100 on Amazon. And I got two 8 gigabyte sticks of Corsair Vengeance RAM, DDR4, 3200 megahertz. Pretty solid RAM. Now for storage, I got a 500 gigabyte PNY SSD. Pretty fast, not much to say about it. Might want to add more storage in the future, but for now, 500 gigabytes is totally fine. Now the motherboard was what surprised me the most. This was an Asus ROG Strix B450M motherboard. The only downside to it was it did not include one of the M.2 NVMe covers, which I'm guessing is just because it's a used motherboard, so it just was missing that from whoever had it last. But it also does not have Wi-Fi built in, but luckily I have an Asus PCIe Wi-Fi adapter that I had to download drivers on my personal computer from and then move to that computer. So it does have Wi-Fi now, but it did not at first until I added that adapter. Now the power supply is also pretty impressive for this build. I got a Thermaltake non-modular 700 watt Smart Series power supply. 700 watts is way overkill for a build of this tier. It's nice because this power supply will last a very long time for whoever buys this computer. They can upgrade really whatever they want and not have to worry about the power supply being able to keep up with it or not. Now this is all in the Gamdius Talos E3. I think Gamdius is how you pronounce the brand. It was just a cheap case I found on Amazon with 3 ARGB fans. And what's really interesting about this case is the front panel is glass, but it has two fans basically on that panel, and what these fans do is they suck air in from the sides of the case, which works really well and is actually, I've never seen a case ever that does this. Now I don't know how efficient it is, I don't know aerodynamics very much, but it is really interesting. Now, I'm used to cable managing in ITX cases, especially my case, NR200P. Very little cable management. I literally had to 3D print more space for it. So this large mid-tower case was really refreshing for me. It only took me like an hour to put it together because of how easy the cables were to route, and I really enjoyed that about it. And really, that's the only thing I like about ATX builds, but something to keep in mind. Cable management, not a problem at all in this build. Another thing about the case is it does have top I/O, and it also has an LED button on the top of the case that can change the colors of the fans. So there's a number of different effects the fans have, and a number of different solid colors too. In the shots that I took of the computer, I just had the fans on yellow. It might not be your favorite color. It's not really my favorite color, but I did think it looked good, and just know that you can change the color of the fans to quite a bit of different options. Now, I've tested 2 games of very different intensity on this PC, those being Counter-Strike 2 and Cyberpunk 2077. I wasn't impressed at first with the performance in either game, but once I optimized both the hardware and the games themselves, this build proved to be really solid. I optimized the hardware by using AMD's Adrenalin software, which took me literal seconds to do. I recommend to anyone who has an AMD build, if you don't already download Adrenalin, you can do so much with it, and it's insanely user-friendly. In Adrenalin, I overclocked the RX 580 by simply clicking the overclock GPU button, and then I restarted the PC so the OC would take effect. I ran CS2 on medium settings and got an average of 90 to 110 FPS. Now I was playing the game against bots just to test the frame rate, so the gameplay you're seeing isn't competitive or multiplayer. This isn't crazy, but it's pretty good considering the age of the components and the affordability of this PC, but what impressed me even more, however, was Cyberpunk. In Cyberpunk on medium settings, I was able to get 50 to 70 FPS. This alone surprised me because Cyberpunk is quite literally a playable benchmark. This game is the ultimate stress test for any PC. But I was able to boost my FPS to an average of 93 when using FSR3 frame generation, which is an amazing technology, by the way. And oh my goodness, I am sorry to admit I did not have enough faith in this build, guys. One more side note though, when I tried to run OBS and record CS2 gameplay, the game would crash every 5 to 10 minutes, so I would not recommend this PC for streaming or content creation. I do not know why it was doing this. I am not a software guy, I'm a hardware guy, so I'm not exactly sure if it's an issue with the hardware or if it's with the software. But however, for someone looking to get into PC gaming and wants a cheap but solid option, I would totally recommend this PC. Now, I would recommend this build for someone who doesn't know much about PCs and just wants to learn how they work and just wants to get into it without spending an arm and a leg, because everything in this economy is at least an arm and a leg, if not a liver. I will update you guys in the next video when I build another PC. I will ship this one off whenever it sells, and if you do want to buy this PC, I am bundling in random electronics with all of the PCs I sell. I have a ton of microphones, headphones, keyboards, mice, all kinds of different peripherals that I'm bundling in with these PCs. Now, that's a little bit of an incentive to get people to buy them, but I do want to just provide someone with a decent start to their gaming PC journey. So the cost of this build equated to about $475 before Windows 10 Pro. Another thing, I do include Windows 10 Pro or Windows 11, depending on the specs of the build, in all of these PCs for free. This PC will come with Windows 10 Pro, and before that, this PC cost me almost exactly $475 to build. Now, if you are interested in buying this PC, I will have a link to the eBay listing in the description of this video. Yes, this is a very petty ad, but the whole point of this video is to just document this journey. I do not expect a sale to come from this video. I mean, I have like 4 subscribers anyways, and so I'm not... The goal of this video is not to be an ad. The goal is to document this journey, and if you'd like to, I'd love for you guys to follow along. Build your own PCs and try to sell them. I'd love to hear about it in the comments too. So anyways, guys, thank you for watching. I will update you in the next video when I ship this PC out and build another. Have a good one.